Hi, folks, and welcome to The Crunch. It's Rebecca and Patrick here talking about all things value in customer and employee experience. Well, it's been a pretty busy conference season. Yeah, you've been gone a lot, Mom. I know. And next week is Zoho, or this week actually is Zoho. So looking forward to heading out to that. So we're recording The Crunch today to get in some time to talk with Monica Koedel, who's Senior VP at ServiceNow. Should we bring on Monica now, Pete? Should we bring on Monica? Yeah? Okay. Monica, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Hello. Thank you so much. Thanks, Rebecca and Patrick. How you guys doing today?
Doing great. How are you?
Good, good.
So I know I said Senior VP and GM of Impact at ServiceNow, and we were at Knowledge earlier this year talking about Impact, but maybe for our audience, you can talk a little bit about what Impact is and what it does for customers.
Yeah, so Impact here at ServiceNow, Impact is our customer success product. So it's the product that we use if you're a customer of ServiceNow, you are likely buying a number of products from us and looking to stand up a ServiceNow practice at your business. And Impact is designed to help you do that and do it well. We're using our best practices, giving you access to our experts to help guide you in the best ways to stand up your ServiceNow practice and optimize your ServiceNow practice. So it's sort of like your companion to ServiceNow and helps get you to the value that you intended when you bought ServiceNow to begin with.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting, because when we started talking about cloud computing, the whole promise was I can get more value over time, mm-hmm. right? But in reality, a lot of folks were kind of challenged in getting there. What makes the Impact approach different from kind of traditional customer success measures?
Yeah. So when I came to ServiceNow, I was really, one of the things that stood out to me right away looking at Impact was how it was transparency. So there's a few different categories of things that we use as our approach with Impact to help you stand up a center of excellence and innovation. For instance, some things just as basic as giving you transparent visibility into what we see as your ServiceNow practice. What do you have from ServiceNow? What do you have as that you could be utilizing from us that you're not? All the way to, reporting on the health of your platform will give you really specific diagnostics and give you tips and tricks to managing and optimizing your platform, to something sort of that is elusive, I think, when you're dealing with a lot of companies, which is we'll actually help you name and measure the value that you're getting from ServiceNow. Like, we want to name what are the objectives you have. ServiceNow products are used to transform your business. So you've obviously got objectives in mind when you made a purchase to begin with. If that's the case, we have measures that we can use and apply to your business to show you that that's working or not working. And we'll measure that over time. So I feel like with all of those, transparency is one of the things that stands out the most to me about Impact. We're basically just trying to bring everything to the light so that you've got everything you need to feel empowered to not only manage, but optimize your business and your practice with ServiceNow.
And as you think about sort of the outcomes, what kind of outcomes are we talking about measuring? Is it like faster workflows, greater productivity? How can somebody kind of take the outputs of Impact and understand them in terms of real dollars?
Yeah, it's things like that. I mean, it depends on which products you've got from ServiceNow and what your objectives are that you're trying to do at your company. A lot of the common things that we see are things like retiring legacy platforms. So how quickly and how much, what's the extent to which at your company you're able to now retire legacy platforms because you're using ServiceNow. Things like mean time to resolution for ticket resolution at your company. And are we removing people hours from a workflow so that it's automated? Some of those are some of the metrics that we see customers take to.
Mm-hmm. But it's got to be a challenge for a lot of ServiceNow customers or your champions who are more on the IT side of the house as you go into more like customer workflows and even employee workflows. So do you find yourself partnering with folks outside of IT to help define some of those metrics and things that you're going to be looking at?
Totally. And, so like I said, Impact should be designed as kind of the companion to the platform owner at the company. So that platform owner is typically working with people in all sorts of lines of business, again, depending on which products they've got with ServiceNow. But we're there to empower that platform owner to provide business metrics that are relevant to each of those lines of business. So if they're dealing with HR, there will be a set of metrics and a set of objectives and best practices that apply to HR, employee workflows, customer workflows, same thing. One of our largest customers told me just last week that Impact has helped their practice reduce the time by 15% that it takes for them to get from idea to production. Things like that can apply to almost any application that you're using ServiceNow for. Just getting people back to innovation instead of working on tech debt is something that I think is pervasive. But there's obviously a lot of metrics and objectives that we can get into that are specific to each line of business. And we typically help the platform owner with that.
And the platform owner you're not necessarily telling the platform owner you need this new product from ServiceNow. It could be turning on capabilities that they already have, or even training or something like that.
Yeah, it's things like turning on capabilities they already have, or work with us. So one of the things with Impact, it's this hybrid product, digital and human. So when you buy Impact, there's a digital experience. We have an app that gives you lots of tools and insights and like AI-driven information that will help you optimize your platform. But it also gives you access to this team of experts. And one of the ways you can do that is you'll get people assigned to your account if you have what we call an Impact Squad. Another way is through these bite-sized engagements called accelerators. And I think that those accelerators provide a good example for the types of things that we'll do with people and the types of ways that we work with customers. There's 3 types of accelerators: strategic, architecture, and technical. And so a lot of times the thing that we might need to work with a company on, sometimes it's technical and we need to get in there and actually work on code, like show the code and train people on how they need to be doing these specific implementations. Sometimes it's strategic, and it might be things like, hey, you need to set up a committee at your company for this change management. How are you going to work with that operational change management? How do you set up governance? So it runs the gamut, but it typically falls into those 3 categories of advisement that we're working with the customer on.
Okay. And so you mentioned change management, and it seems like that's a dirty word when we start talking about digital transformation. What's the biggest challenge that you see customers facing as they look to take on some of these transformation initiatives?
Yeah, I do think that the biggest challenge that I see them facing is articulating the value that the business stands to get from a ServiceNow practice. And that's something that when customers are leveraging Impact and they're getting a lot of value out of it, that's a piece that before Impact, it's been something that they've tried to get to, and it just the objectives that they're working with haven't resonated with the lines of business inside their company. In IT, people understand it, but when it comes time to really drive that transformation outside of IT, they struggle to get people on board. So that's one of the reasons why we've got value management as a big pillar of Impact, because we feel that it really is important to get those lines of business and the strategic partners you've got in the company on board in a way that matters to them. But I think that that's one of the areas people tend to struggle with before they've bought Impact.
Yeah, I think too, as you think about it extending beyond ITSM to sort of customer workflows and the employee workflows, you're really talking about completely different languages, completely different business units, not always folks that have been super collaborative with the platform owner.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's one of the things that I hear our platform owners talk about a lot is managing their internal clients. and how can we help them manage their internal clients? They really are standing up a practice and almost running this practice inside their company. And so whatever tools we can give them to make that easier for them, that's our aim. We want it to be easy for them to have a successful ServiceNow practice.
So Impact was launched, what, almost 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Do you talk about how many customers are actively using it today?
Yeah, we've got around 2,500 customers.
Okay.
So it's grown a lot since launch. We launched with sort of a pilot, and now we're at scale and growing rapidly.
And if you were to venture a guess about how many customers end up investing more in the platform because of capabilities that they've found that they could benefit from, what share of folks would you say are increasing their spend by the discoverability of Impact?
Oh, yeah. Many. That's one of the things that we, so sometimes it's increasing spend and sometimes it's just optimizing what they've got. And honestly, that's the main goal, is just, are you succeeding with what you've already got from ServiceNow, and can you articulate that? But we do have a fair share of people who have a great experience, and yes, they want to buy more. They want to apply ServiceNow to another part of their business. So let's say 30%. It's
which is good news for ServiceNow. If you're showing more value, you can deliver more value, right?
Yeah. But that's really our aim, is we want you to have everything that you need in order to have a successful ServiceNow practice.
Where are the big areas of investment that you're thinking about for Impact moving forward?
Yeah. Well, so Gen AI opens up a lot of possibilities with Impact. So we've got a portion of our roadmap that is all about Gen AI. We've started implementing that. We just launched some summarization and search capabilities using Gen AI. So that's one of the big areas of investment. And another thing is in the arena of platform health. So our major pillars of features are product adoption, platform health, value realization, and then across all of those, access to expertise. In the area of platform health, there's a lot we can do there with and for customers. There already is a lot there to be had with Impact. That's one of the things that I hear customers say, just like when they've got that value articulated, I hear them say, oh, that's something that was really elusive to me before and that Impact really helped solve. That's great. What I hear about platform health is, I use that every day. I'm in there every day. I'm looking at the reports. I'm looking at the dashboards. I'm taking the recommendations. I'm optimizing my implementation. in their roadmap, they've got work items that are coming straight from the Impact platform health tools. So that's another area of investment that we have. I think we've come a long way there, but we could do a lot more. So we're definitely investing in making our platform health capabilities more robust, providing deeper insights to customers and more specific recommendations.
And we've talked a couple of times about communicating the value to the business. Are you working with the Rise Up folks and thinking about how to help train platform champions on things like soft skills, on things like change management, on things like presenting that business case?
Yeah. So training is a part of Impact. It's, Impact sort of pulls together the pieces of ServiceNow that we feel are critical to success. And obviously training is one of those. So the nuance, and so, we work really closely with the Rise Up team, and it's really important to help get folks to where they need to be in order to make the most of ServiceNow products. Trainings and certifications is a big part of that. The nuance with the Impact customer and training, again, a lot of times our main user is the platform owner. So aside from their own training, they're often managing a training plan for their company. And they want to understand what are the recommended trainings based on the products they have and the objectives they have for business transformation. What are the recommended trainings from ServiceNow? What are the things that we think they need to be certified on? So we'll give those recommendations as part of Impact. We've got accelerators that will hook them up with a specialist to help them build out that training plan. And then they can get reporting on how things are going. So Training is absolutely one of the most important things when standing up a practice for ServiceNow, and we want to help make that easier.
Yeah, I mean, the human factors are going to be a big part of this for a lot of these folks, and expanding their role to be more of a business partner really with the rest of the business.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a long way to go when it comes to creating like a legion of ServiceNow experts and sort of certified champions. So that's one of the big objectives that we've got as a company.
So what are the biggest challenges for your team?
Yeah, challenges for my team. So that's a good question. I would say like the balancing act of, all right, so investing in platform health, value, product adoption, and the access to expertise. There's a lot that we've got going on at all times, and we want to make sure that we're raising up the value of each of these categories of the product in sort of equal form. So that's one of the things that is a constant struggle. Like, okay, where do we go next? And the way that we get around that is just by listening to our customers and kind of letting them set the pace and making sure that we've got really easy access to their voice, guiding our roadmap, as well as the new products that are coming out from ServiceNow and new technology we can take advantage of, like Gen AI, and just kind of choosing the most advantageous places to invest first that will benefit our customers the most, and we can get the most bang for our buck, so to speak.
So 12 months from now, what do you expect? What are your goals for the next 12 months, and how will you measure success?
Yeah. So we measure success based on our customers' success. That's the great thing about this product, is because it is a success type of product. We're looking at how are our customers doing? How are Impact customers performing in their goals as compared to non-Impact customers? And with ServiceNow, are they happier? Are they using their investments to a higher extent? And, are they satisfied with the product? Are they satisfied with their other products and things like that? So in the next 12 months, we're doing a few things. So one, we are automating manual work out of as many of the workflows as we can that have to do with Impact and with just your post-purchase experience with ServiceNow. Out of 15 workflows that exist within Impact, 10 of them in the last 5 months have been either fully or partially automated. So we're on a big journey of automation and infusing AI and Gen AI. So that's one difference you'll see in 12 months' time, is that
automation and Gen AI.
A lot of automation and Gen AI. Another is that we're making Impact more accessible for the customer. That has to do with accessing time with our people, as well as just the app itself. We're moving our digital app from a standalone central instance to the customer's instance. So if we have the Impact app right there in the customer's instance, they can use the features of Impact right alongside their other ServiceNow products. There will be a much closer integration, which will help with the automation. And it'll just be a lot more accessible, easy to use.
And they'll have more access to the data that's telling them about their system health, about performance, about workflows that are being used, and ultimately about the value that they're getting.
Exactly. Yep.
Great. Well, we have a few minutes left, and that means it's crunch time.
Oh, crunch time. Exciting.
So crunch time, Monica, we like to ask a few non-tech questions from the Proust questionnaire. Patrick has a couple of favorites, right, Pete? So the first one is, what talent would you most like to have?
Ooh, talent would I most like to have? Influence, I think. Influencing people. I feel like that's just kind of the key to everything. Like that book, how to win people over and influence people.
Influence is your superpower. I would say that you have influence.
Well, I'll take more of it.
Okay. It's a glass half full, right? Glass half empty. What is your favorite place in the world?
Great question. Okay, so it's either Cascais, Portugal, right by Lisbon,
Okay.
or Kyoto in
Oh,
Japan.
interesting. Okay.
I think I'm in a beach mood today, so I'm going to go with Portugal. Cascais.
That's beautiful.
I spent a lot of time there. My old company, we had an office there, and I spent a lot of time there. I took my kids there and used to take walks every night from Estoril to Cascais, and it was just like, oh, best thing, right by the ocean.
That's great. Yes, I feel for you. The beaches is definitely my thing too.
Yeah.
This is Patrick's favorite question. If you were to die and come back as a person or thing, what or whom would you be?
Oprah. Sorry, gut reaction. Oprah.
Why Oprah? Influence?
Yeah. I mean, or a whale. They're very wise, right? And they get to live in the ocean all the time. But I'm going to go with Oprah. That was my first reaction. I spit it out. I'll stick with it. Oprah is the one thing, obviously she's like she's doing life really well. So that I'd like to do that. The one thing that strikes me about Oprah is, aside from being a big influence, she's a learner. She's a lifelong learner. And when you listen to her interviews, it seems to me that the drive there is really to learn from the people that she's interviewing. And she goes really deep and tries to understand and does understand a lot of things. And she has access to to the best teachers in the world on any topic. So I love to learn, and I want to learn about any topic I can. And she seems to have the mindset and the access to be able to do that to the fullest extent.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I love the sort of lifelong learner. I think we all would like to be more of that.
Yeah.
Learning new things all the time. What's the most overrated virtue?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. The most overrated virtue. Okay. This might be controversial. I'm going to say creativity. Is that a virtue? Creativity?
We'll call it one, sure.
Okay, sure. I feel like creativity might be the most overrated virtue. The reason I say that is because truly, I think most things are pretty simple. And people can get really caught up in trying to be creative. And I'm mostly applying that to business, not if your job is an artist, yes, creativity is great. Go for it. If you're in business, I feel like people can get really caught up in the solution, in coming up with a creative solution that they think has so many bells and whistles and colors, and it's just amazing, right? But truthfully, where I feel like the most magic is happening is when you're keeping it simple. Business is complicated enough for people. Technology is complicated enough for people. If you can simplify things and just solve simple problems and get to a win-win, that actually seems to be more impactful than the most belly and whistly thing I can think of.
Keep it simple. Good advice. I know when we're talking to clients about business case, we always say MOM, right? If you can't explain it to your mom, it's not simple enough.
I haven't heard that one. That's great. I'm going to use that.
Excellent. Well, I think that's a great place to leave it for today. Monica, thank you so much for joining us. It was a real pleasure having you on The Crunch. And thanks, everybody, for joining. We'll see you soon.
Thanks.